All right, let's go up to Rochester, Minnesota, and talk to like literally one of the most famous people in agriculture. I'm like fangirling over here, Greg Peterson, but you might know him as Machinery Pete. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, I'm doing well, Rob. How you doing?
Good. Is it cold up there?
Well, it's all relative. It's about 8 degrees today, so we're breaking out the Hawaiian shirts and sandals, and it's been 20 below, so it's nice today.
Okay, I guess for people that don't know, can you explain what Machinery Pete is?
Yeah, I got started a little over 31 years ago, Rob. I'm the son of a third generation farm equipment dealer in Minnesota, and I set out, just took my dad's advice basically, and started compiling auction sale prices on all types of machinery. And it was a slow build over the years. Of course, no internet or cell phones back when I started ages ago. But just compile this information, and we're up over 1 million auction prices now. And I've always hoped they can help farmers and dealers and lenders, just figure out what your, whatever that piece of equipment is worth. And as the business grew over the years, I mean, I couldn't have foreseen back in the day what would happen, but getting into television and writing columns for magazines and radio and websites, and it's been a fun ride.
Okay, when you first started all this, you had like the Kelly Blue Book for the cars, right? Was there anything like that for agriculture?
There were a few things out there. There was a publication in Iowa called Hotline
Hmm.
at the time that was sort of doing the same thing, covering, reporting on auction prices. And, there really wasn't at an industry level. My father, as a dealer, was sort of frustrated. Now, I started in 1989, so it was coming right off of the tail end of the 80s. And back then, of course, it was, kind of brutal times. But you still, as a dealer or farmer, what is that piece of equipment worth? Is it
Hmm.
20,000? Is it 28,000? My dad, as a dealer, was just, he didn't like making mistakes, so he wanted to know hard cash what everything was worth, even if it proved that he put too much in on that item on trade. So he just told me it was good info, and yeah, that was back in the days, no internet. We were putting a book out 4 times a year, so it was a lot of fun.
There's lots of little subcultures within agriculture. One of them that is got huge loyalty is the auction crowd. People love to go to farm auctions, and I'm wondering. I mean, we just went through 2020, and we're still into 2021. A lot of these auctions have been canceled. They're all going virtual. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, 2020 was, I think, the most probably eventful year I've had in 31 years doing what I'm doing, Rob. And COVID was driving the bus. We were all along for the ride and having to react to it. So, in the auction world, you're right, it was fascinating. Frankly, I was pretty worried about a year ago that we would see mass cancellations and it would gum up the whole system. But for the most part, what happened is the auction industry kind of leaned in on the fly. And these online auctions, I tell you what, it's been amazing. The pricing, if anything, has gone up. I think there's some powerful human psychology at work there when we can sit in, whether it's on our phone in the tractor cab or in our office, and click that button and nobody knows what we're bidding. So it's been amazing. The part I miss, Rob, is that there's something about an auction
Hmm.
going. Obviously, for our TV show, we go film them, and for your YouTube channel, we film them. But the people you talk to at an auction, I always came away having learned so much. Um, Now, some states we're getting back to more on physical auctions, so hopefully we'll kind of have a mix of both going forward.
It's amazing to me. I mean, what you've done has morphed into this whole Machinery Pete brand. I mean, you got a TV show off of this.
Yeah, I I knew I had to find out a way to make a TV show back in 2004, Rob. There was a show, an Iowa public television station that produces Market to Market, a show we all love here. Called me up out of the blue and they said, "Hey, you're that auction guy, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm Greg." And they said, "We want to come up and do a story on what you do." So I said, "Well, come on up." And they said, "Hey, it'd be cool if you could take us out to an auction for some B-roll." So it just so happens my friend Todd Houghton out of Red Wing, Minnesota, had a little auction in Pine Island, Minnesota. So I said, "Well, let's go up there." And we hopped out of their truck, and the IPTV guy had his camera on his shoulder. And we took about 3 steps out of the truck, and somebody said, "Hey, Machinery Pete, when's this going to be on and what channel?" And of course, that was like 5 years before YouTube. So I spent 4, 5, 6 years trying to figure out how to do a TV show. So I'm still trying to learn. So I watch you, Rob, for pointers and tips. And I
Yeah, yeah,
thank you.
it's a great idea. If people want to find you on social media or the old internet, where do they go?
Yeah, just type in Machinery Pete wherever you are. I mean, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And just a huge thank you to the folks out there for following along. And again, giving me a lot of story ideas and sharing their truths on the ground where they are. Social media, there's a lot of negatives about it, but I try to steer clear of that and stay into the positives. Like today, some guy tagged me on a tweet. His 88-year-old neighbor was tooling down the road in his International 1468, just flying. He's 88 years old, and to see a video clip like that, it's just pure fun.
Greg, I'm going to ask you a question you're not going to like. Out of all the auctions you've ever went to, what is the coolest thing, agriculture or not, that you've ever seen auctioned off?
Well, I would have to tell you, Rob, it was pretty recent. It was October 28th, 2020, up in Spear, Saskatchewan. Ritchie Brothers had the auction, and it was a crazy deal. I wrote about it. We actually featured it on our TV show, but it was a 92 John Deere 4760 tractor with 3.6 hours on it. And of course, you see it, and people say, that can't be right. What's the story? And the longer I do this, I feel more like Paul Harvey, who I grew up listening to on the radio, because I'm sure you get it too all the time. It's like, Rob, what's the story on that thing? So in this case, it was a former part owner of a John Deere store up there in Saskatchewan, and he just bought this thing brand new and put it in a shed. And it sat on the cement floor for, 28 years there.
Jeez.
And it's sold. Now, going into the sale, the highest I'd ever seen auction price on a 4760, Rob, was $85,500 3 years ago in Indiana. But this thing sold for $197,028 US, 260,000 Canadian. So that one might be hard to top for a little while.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well,
We'll see.
Greg Peterson, Machinery Pete, it's always great talking to you. It's amazing to see what you've built. I mean, you help agriculture, and I want to thank you for that. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Rob, and keep up the great work.
Thanks. Thanks for spending some time with us here on SharkFarmer TV. For more stories about people in agriculture, catch my shows on Rural Radio Channel 147 Sirius XM. There's more in-depth discussions on my podcast, and of course, you can check out previous episodes of this show on my YouTube channel. Find out more at sharkfarmer.com.